Hello, my fellow readers. Today I'm going to talk about potentially one of the most overhyped manga series I've been seeing lately, and what my thoughts are about it. So that series in question is Chainsaw Man. This has been like everywhere, I think, for the past year, and it's by Tatsuki Fujimoto. So what do I think? Because it's literally been everywhere and everybody's been like super hyped for the anime, super hyped for reading the manga. And so yeah, I also wanted to check it out, especially before the anime, get my thoughts on it. So yeah, I mean, it's a solid read. I will quickly read a little synopsis from this volume. It's Denji's a poor young man who will do anything for money, even hunting down devils with his pet devil dog, Pochita. He's a simple man with simple dreams, drowning under a mountain of debt. But his sad life gets turned upside down when he's betrayed by someone he trusts. Now with the power of a devil inside him, Denji's become a whole new man, Chainsaw Man. It's so hard to like talk about this because you don't know if you will give spoilers, but yeah, essentially he ends up kind of making a deal after things are going bad, and he's like makes a deal with his dog, who had like the snout of a chainsaw, that Pochita will become like his heart, and keep Denji alive. And so they just make an arrangement, and now he can look human, but then he can also transform and become Chainsaw Man. And there's a whole group that he ends up getting involved with and going on the typical shonen ventures. I think one of the only things that makes Denji a little bit different is because he's... The not different part is that he's not that bright, but the semi-different, because again, I don't know. I found a lot of this to be like just typical shonen. I didn't really think it was that revolutionary. A lot of his motives will be teenage boy based, so like sexual things. If he thinks he's gonna get a kiss or to feel somebody up or whatever, then he'll do the stuff. Like that's what he's motivated by. He doesn't necessarily have like a moral code or ethics that he's standing by, or any great vengeance story. I mean, obviously he was betrayed by a group of people that he would want to, but a lot of his motivations are simply what suits him in the moment, if that makes sense. It's whatever, like, I mean, he's a teenager, so it's, think of how, if you are a teenager, how you think, but also if you're not a teenager, how do teenagers think? And it's a lot of what's best for me, and what am I trying to do? Inherently, I mean, people are pretty selfish, and our motivations are often selfish. And the same is for Denji. You know, he's not some great hero that's trying to do things the right way. He's doing what he can to get some chicks. I don't know. I have read the first 7 volumes. I think I have more on order, but again, I don't know when they'll get here. So I have a pretty good grasp of what happened in the story, and a pretty good grasp of whether or not like it's totally my thing. And it's not totally my thing. Like, it's a little bit more outside of my realm of what I really, really like. I mean, that being said, I like it. I'll probably continue reading it. The volumes that I've purchased, I'll probably donate it to my library, because I think a lot of my teens and other users for the manga collection will really appreciate having the series available. And it has been like harder to get because of all of the shortages. So yeah, it's probably one that like I get and I read, but then I donate back, because I don't really have the space for it either. And I think I've said like a bunch of times that my collection isn't really built of, I've probably seen it too, not really built of a lot of shonen titles. I'll read shonen titles, but usually I read them by borrowing them and then giving them back. It's just not my favorite. And I mean, that sort of makes sense. It's not really like written for me or my tastes. So I don't know, it's fine. Having read the 7, I will say I'm liking where the story is developing and heading. And I'm very interested to get the whole backstory about his dog, Pochita, because there's definitely more to Pochita than Pochita's just, you know, a demon dog. Like, he's not a simple demon. He's obviously got a lot going on. And so I really, really, really want that backstory. And I think that's what's really my driving point for continuing to read it, because I do find that part really, really interesting. And yeah, I want to see that. Again, like, me not keeping it doesn't mean I'm not into the story. It just means space-wise, I'm like, do I want that taking up a big chunk of my space? And then value. Like, will I reread it? And I think in this case, I probably won't. I mean, I'm liking the story, but I'd much rather see it go out into the hands of other people who will really enjoy the story as well. So that's my, like, how I balance whether I keep a series or not. It's like, will I reread it? Will it serve a better purpose if it can get borrowed by other people? And like in this case, I think it's better served that I can read it and enjoy it, but then share it with other people. So that's my goal and what I'm going to do. I don't think I'll have regrets about that. Only occasionally do I have any regrets that's like, oh, I should have hung on to that. I think in this case it'll be fine. That's just my take on it. If I do change my mind, I'm sure somewhere down the road, if it continues the height of its popularity, it'll be released in like a box set or something, and I would get the box. But I think for now I'm just gonna let it go. So yeah, overall, I think there's a lot to this story that I think they're just getting into, and I think will make things even more interesting. I like a lot of the storylines that are brought up and what's happening below the surface. Denji doesn't necessarily hit that. Like, he's the main figure, but he doesn't necessarily get picking up, I guess, the undercurrents of what's happening. I'm really into the undercurrents of what's happening. I think that's going to be really good, but it's not one of those series where Denji's necessarily getting what's going on. He's just kind of going along with it, or really kind of able to be manipulated with those undercurrent of events. Like, that is really how I would put it. Like, he's being manipulated along with those big events, but he doesn't really get it. And so we can sort of see stuff happening and the big wheels churning, which I really like, but he's just kind of like this. Like, the wheels are here and he's just like, meh. So it's interesting. I am really looking forward to the anime series. I'm definitely going to watch along, and I'll see how it's done. The animation looks good. I'm sure the voice acting will be great. So I am looking forward to that part. So I hope I don't sound like negative by saying like, oh, I don't want to keep it, but I don't know. I don't feel like that vibe about it. Like, I'm enjoying it, but I don't feel like, oh my gosh, this is my collector's piece. I'm liking it. It's good. And I want to share it, and I want to watch the anime, but that's where I stand. It's still typically, a shonen title, and you're watching his progression, his growth of strength. It's all the typical stuff. And if you like that, you're going to have a good time with Chainsaw Man. Like, seriously, if you like action stories, there's a lot of gore to this one. So if you like gore, it sounds weird if you say to people, if you like gore. But, I mean, honestly, it's kind of interesting. If you like gore, if you like action, if you like those hidden subplots, you're going to have a good time with Chainsaw Man. It's not a bad read. You're going to like it. That's my thoughts. And that's it for this video. Until next time, bye.